Several years ago, the principal, David McLeod, asked me to look at our college roll of honour. We had about, I think, 32 soldiers who had fallen in World War I and World War II. And initially it was to make sure that we had got all those that had been educated in the Warkworth area, not the larger Warkworth area, but the area that we draw our schools from now. So that's Lee, Matakana, Kuiper Flats and so forth. Do we have all the names listed accurately? And then also, were there any soldiers that had won awards for valour? Not so much the VC, because we would have known about that automatically, but other battle awards like the Military Cross, the Military Medal, the DSO, awards for bravery in combat. So I was quite happy to do it, and I started off by going firstly to the Warkworth Museum, and I looked at upstairs in their archive sections, and the ladies there were extremely helpful to me. I started to go through the nominal rolls of the feeder schools in the district, and it was a bit of a hit and miss process. I started off by going back as far as the early 1880s, because I figured by the time of the outbreak of the war in 1914 that we would have had eligible young men ready to be enlisted and serve in the war. And that proved a huge task. There were dozens and dozens and dozens of names, and I was trying to match them with the 20 odd that we had for the First World War and about another dozen for the Second World War, and it became quite complex because there was no guarantee that those that might have been going, say, to Omaha School would have carried on to higher education. And in those days it was very common for young people to complete schooling till about 12 or so, and then go off and look for work, apprenticeships, or in the case of the Warkworth area, probably working in the rural side of things, helping out in the farms. From there I managed to confirm some of the names that had gone on to what we now call secondary school or high school, and then I rewrote it. I went to the Warkworth RSA, obviously had a look at their roll of honour boards there and used that for the first phase of the investigation, I suppose you'd call it, and just checking off names and dates of birth and so forth. So then I updated it, and I'd found a few more names, but at that stage it was those that were exclusively at Mahurangi College, or in the previous years the Warkworth District High School. Anzac Day assembly, and I was able to send photos of some of the names of Warkworth men, boys really, who had been killed in the Somme, and the images of the tomb of the unknown warrior where they exhumed the New Zealand soldier who now rests at the cenotaph in Wellington. So it was quite a poignant moment for me, and being ex-military, having served as a major in the New Zealand Army and the Education Corps, and having a strong background in military history, this was almost a bit of a pilgrimage for me. My father was a gunner in the Second World War, and he was captured along with a lot of other New Zealanders and Australians and British at the disastrous evacuation of Crete. Well, he never made the boats, and he lived in the hills for a while, finally rounded up by the Germans, and managed to escape twice from custody. And living in the mountains, he was befriended by the villagers of Crete, who were absolutely magnificent to him and to the others. In fact, there was a book called Escape and Evasion from Crete, so my father was regarded as what you call an invader. It gave me the idea to try and do something, set up in a scholarship program through Mahurangi College and the prefecture of Hania in western Greece, and in 2007 we had our first student come over. None of this would have been possible without the magnificent financial assistance of the Walk with RSA.